Good morning, everyone, and thank you, Bernard, for allowing me to address the important issues of growth and transformation on behalf of the Minerals Council of South Africa. Mining matters to our economy too, as you all know. It accounts for 6% of GDP and 800 billion rands worth of exported mineral products, representing 45% of total exports of the country. Corporate tax payments amounted to 43 billion rand last year, contributing 14% of total corporate tax collection. For the investors in the audience, mining companies, as you probably know, make up 32% of the JSE top 40 by market capitalization. Mining matters is not just a slogan, it's a fact. It's critical for mining companies and investors throughout the value chain to have a pragmatic, stable regulatory environment that attracts investment rather than discourages it by onerous, globally uncompetitive policy. It is our considered view that the proposed Minerals Amendment Bill, in its original form, does not encourage or sustain the growth and investment that the mining industry needs to realize its full potential, to create employment, to stimulate the economy, and to fulfill its social mandate. Council has submitted a detailed document outlining our concerns, and we remain constructively engaged during the current consultation phase. We do, however, expect somewhat of a protracted period before a redraft emerges, potentially extending into the new year. The mining industry has made significant contributions to transformation to address the historical injustices of the past. These contributions were made despite the industry facing headwinds of a difficult operating and regulatory environment, which has reduced the potential contribution of mining from historic levels. Minister Gwedi Mantashe has often said on public platforms that the mining industry is the most transformed sector in our country, and we agree. Our 2019 study reviewed progress made on Mining Charter 2010. The respondents represented about 70% of the total sector at that time and achieved 39% HDSA shareholding against the 26% target. Ownership was broad-based. Employees owned a total weighted average of 7.5%. Community members owned 9.4% at that time, and HDSA entrepreneurs owned 22.3%. The mining sector spends in excess of 3 billion rand annually on social and labor plans, building homes, schools, roads, bridges, clinics, water infrastructure, and sewage works. An employment equity study undertaken in 2023 of members showed that in many occupational levels, targets were met and exceeded, and that overall, the industry was close to achieving most targets. Women now comprise about a fifth of all employees. We must consider that before 1994, women were actually legislated out of the underground workforce. A degree of stigma and even superstition has been overcome, and we're better off for it. Given the contribution that mining makes to the national economy, to employees and communities, it is not difficult to understand why the Council is so emphatic about the need for regulatory and operating environment that attracts investment and encourages and sustains growth. Picking up on what was said earlier by Duncan, in the South African context, it costs, in round numbers, 20 billion rand and takes 10 years to build a decent-sized mine. And that excludes the exploration phase. Very few mining companies have that type of money lying around on the balance sheet. Companies need to operate in an environment that allows them to attract capital in the form of debt or equity to fund projects. Providers of capital, on the other hand, will not put their money into risky investments where their returns are threatened by regulatory uncertainty, crime and corruption, and failing infrastructure. At the very least, the cost of capital increases significantly, rendering projects unviable that otherwise would proceed. This is the fundamental starting point of all our discussions with Minister Mantashe and his colleagues, as well as other government departments. The mining industry has been severely constrained during the past 3 decades by regulatory uncertainty, weak administrative processes, unnecessary delays in licensing authorizations, as well as the severe repercussions that state capture has had on electricity supply and cost, and rail and port disruption. The mining industry has enormous untapped potential in the minerals that we already mine, and also the minerals of the future, provided we can unlock exploration and attract investment. The Minerals Council will not relent in lobbying and advocating for the best possible regulatory and operating environment to realize this potential for the benefit of all shareholders, employees, communities, and of course, the broader South African economy. We are fully engaged with government on the legislative issues at hand, including the proposed amendment bill and the chrome export tax issue. It is extremely important for both investment and job creation that rational outcomes prevail and not inappropriate policy responses to misdiagnosed problems. As the question was posed by Bernard, can we achieve growth and transformation at the same time? Of course we can. But we must ensure an enabling policy framework that attracts and retains capital to be able to do so. Mining is a very people-centric undertaking, and we are deeply connected to the fabric of society at ground level. We don't make money in Joburg. We make money on the mines. It's very important that we succeed. Thanks for listening.
Are you rigged up? Wish list? I mean, what is the view of the industry?
We got the answer on the board in the initial survey. Sort out policy and the regulatory framework within which we operate. It is one of those things that's within our capacity to do, and quite quickly with the right political will. And I would suggest that is what's required.
A final comment. So I am sure, because we haven't heard that the 1st of October promised date for the cadastre system to be live and up and running in the Western Cape, I'm sure there's a delay, otherwise we would have read about it. I do find it interesting that we go to the Western Cape. I can just see my application for manganese mining in Stellenbosch. I love it. I mean, really, all those bastards who want mining but not in their backyard.
It's where the real mining is.
Yeah, exactly. I can't wait for that. I'm personally going to apply for a few mining permits there. But cadastre system, Duncan says, listen, so 7 years of talk, it is going to happen, it will change things. Are you as optimistic that the cadastre system will fundamentally change ground zero, the base?
I think a cadastral system, a formal system that is workable and understandable, and simple and transparent, of course it will work. It basically is the lever we need to pull to get it going.
Ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, you can't put miners on the stage. We have to complain, and then we get optimistic bullies, and we actually know what needs to be done. Paul, thank you very much for your contribution today. Thank you.